What's going on, world? It's your boy D Hop. I am here today with my guy Manuel Ford.
What's up? How you feel?
I'm
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
We here today, Moments with D Hop. As we always do, we sit down with individuals who have motivational and inspirational stories. And I think this guy right here, he has some definitely motivational words and an inspirational story. So we're gonna get to it. Until then,
Definitely.
we'll be right back. Yes, sir, we are back. D Hop, Moments with D Hop with my guy Manuel Ford. Always a pleasure.
Thank
I like to greet my guests, as many times as possible and just really show them that we appreciate you for pulling up.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you to y'all too, tuning in.
Absolutely. So with that, let's get into it. Manuel Ford, author of a children's series, right? So explain to that, because I don't want to mess it up, right? So let the people know who you are, what you do, and why you're here today.
Well, like my man said, I go by the pen name of Manuel Ford, and Manuel Ford is the author of a children's book series called Meet the Learners. And Meet the Learners is just basically it's about a family, African American family, and it's I wrote it to basically help children overcome anxieties that they may be facing, and not just the children, but also to help the parents help their children overcome certain anxieties they're facing. And it's about a family that the first book that I'm putting out is about a young girl, and her name is Alice, and she's been afraid of the doctor for her whole life. So the first book is about her getting the courage to now go to the doctor and to not be afraid and to overcome that fear. But in that process, there's a story being told as to what's the reason why she was able to overcome that fear. And that's basically what I'm doing with this whole book series.
That's dope. So you gave her a backstory.
Exactly.
So how many family members are there?
We got Alice, that's the young girl. She's 8 years old. Her brother Bobby, a 10-year-old, and then mom and dad, that's their name, mom, dad, and grandma, and a dog named Festa. So these Alice, Bobby, grandma, mom, dad, and Festa, 6 recurring. So these characters will be the ones you'll see in all of the books involved with this series. And in each book you'll have a different character or different characters. So like with the first book about going to the doctor of course is a character now. His name is Dr. Richards. But there's 6 recurring characters, 5 people, 1 dog.
Okay.
Gotta mention my man Festa. You're gonna see Festa throughout the whole duration of it.
So let's go back a little bit. What prompted you to start the book? And I'm not saying the immediate answer. I'm talking about take us back to who Manuel Ford is, who the writer is, who the person was before getting the pen name Manuel Ford, where it set you in motion to be like, this is what I want to do.
Okay, good question. Well, as I mentioned, my pen name is Manuel Ford. So the question is asking where I come from. My real name is Tashawn Shuford. I can give out my government. We ain't used to do that, but my government name is Tashawn Shuford. The name I go by from all my friends, they know me as Toll, right? Okay. So you see some people that may know me from young, they always call me Toll. That's the name I grew up with. And as I got older and got into, dealing with the music and things of that nature, because I have a musical background, so my name would be Toll Cobain, which I still go by today, on Instagram, so forth and so on. But Manuel Ford came about, Tashawn Shuford, like I said, once I had my children, I grew in love with children, and just the whole process of nurturing children and just seeing them, seeing the impact you can have on their lives when you really, really, care about children. So of course we all care about our children. And then, fast forward some time, I was able to have the opportunity to work with children as well as an educator, for a private facility or a private institution, however you want to name it. And it was then when I realized, like, man, not only do I have super love for my children, but I just love children, period. And it was around that time when I started to realize I just had a good way with children and just, teaching them and interacting with them and really understanding what makes them go, how to help them overcome their fears, how to help them become the best version of themselves. So in that, I started to realize, like, man, you're reading books to kids at times, and I've always been a writer. I was an R&B songwriter.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, I can write these books too. I can do this.
Right. And
that's where the journey began. And I just sat down. I sat on the idea for about a year. So to all of y'all, a lot of times when you're trying to be an author or you're trying to write, it's not even as simple as you have an idea and you just write. I sat on this idea for at least a year and a half before I actually put it into play.
What was that pushing point to be like, all right, it's go time?
I just felt confident in the story, because we all create differently. So for me, I can create and go through my head and have material in my head, but not necessarily put it down. I can get that done. So for me, the tipping point when I said it was go time was when I really felt confident within myself that, okay, I can present this, I can really get this out. And that's when I just said go, and I just wrote. I wrote four books in all so far.
So once you push the button, go time, did you write the 4 books straight off, or did you, how was that? What's the process? Because we want to get into you as a person, because we want the people to understand who you are, give some people some insight of who you are, what makes you tick. I think for me as an interviewer and just as a person, when I'm looking at interviews and I want to know the person before I know the product.
Okay.
It might make me like the product a little more.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So let the people know, like, your mind, your ticking, and what really pushed you. Like, okay, I got the idea set on, now it's go time. Did you write 4 straight off? Like, what was that?
Yeah, good question. Me, I didn't write all 4, and I want to say that I didn't even have all 4 topics, at the onset of actually writing. So I wrote them one at a time. And the very first one I wrote was this book about, Alice going to the doctor. I had a name for it, but I'm not sure I'm going to use that particular name. So Meet the Learners is a series, and I had a name for each particular book. So I don't want to say the name. I'm just going to phrase it as it's about her going to the doctor. But
titles is tentative.
Yeah. But to answer your question though, because that's a great question, I wrote mine one at a time. So when I finished with this book in particular, and I got more even acclimated to the characters that I created, I then said, okay, if my objective is once again to help children overcome the fears and anxieties, going to the doctor is one, what are other fears and anxieties that children are facing? So that was my next thought process. So, another one of the books is about like bullying and
which is definitely good in this time and era.
Exactly, kids getting bullied, and me writing is not me having all the answers or me, being the go-to guy for helping your children overcome this and that. It's just me speaking from experiences and seeing with my own 2 eyes and paying attention what children are actually going through. So
it's your truths.
Yeah, so coming up with the topics wasn't that challenging. It's just, I deal with the kids and what are they going through. You see kids getting bullied, you see kids afraid to go to the doctor, so forth and so on. And also, parents sometimes struggle with how to deal with these issues with their children. So when you're helping parents and you're making an impact on parents with their children, it's it's kind of like, okay, you can kind of put this in the book so you can get to the parents that you don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
And that was the thought process. So coming up with the topics afterwards was just thinking about the kids and what they need and what will help the parents help them.
All right. So what, as a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got 3 children.
3 children. Mm-hmm.
So as a young kid yourself, growing up, where you from, matter of fact? Let the people know.
Me, I'm from Harlem, New York.
All right. So in Harlem, was your background, what we say, right? Was it sweet or was it a little struggle?
My background, it wasn't sweet, but it wasn't too much of a struggle. I have friends that had a lot harder upbringing than I did. Less unfortunate, I should say. My mom, I had the type of mom that was working 3 jobs. I had a younger sister that I had to take care of in the midst of all of that. So, younger, I wasn't out on the streets as much, but at the same time, when we from, you around all of that, you know what I mean? So, but I came up, pretty cool, man, Harlem, and like I said, it was just, it wasn't sweet, but it wasn't, I'm not gonna sit here and say I had the hardest upbringing,
right.
But I made the best out of it. It could have been harder, if I didn't get some of the things instilled from me, from my mom that I did. So when, the moments of truth came, my decision making was wicked, you know what I mean? I was able to make the right decisions for me and stand in my truth. I ain't never been the type of person that's trying to, or get affected by peer pressure or trying to follow the crowd.
That's good. That's
I never been that. You know what I mean?
That's
always
perfect.
Been me.
That's a good segue for this next question. Because growing up, in the hood or Harlem, Harlem is a hood itself, right?
Exactly.
So growing up in your peers, talking about peer pressure, now at this age, of a gentleman, mature age, how did it affect, or how does it affect you writing children's books? And did you tell anybody about it when you first started, or was it more or less like, I'm around thugs and street dudes, I don't know how they're gonna take this, and me, the music guy, writing kid stories, like how does that,
And for me too, because everybody that may know me outside of my immediate family, like my man Beezy over here, like they know me from being around, music and popular people in music, and that whole stigma that comes involved in that. But with me also, in the midst of all of that, I've always been like I said, my name, I've always been told, and never had a problem with being me. I never had to cater or try to be something I wasn't. So, but that being said, when I came out with the book, because also too, the book Meet the Learners that the first book I'm coming out with is I'm republishing it, which means I published it prior. And in the journey in life, sometimes we get in situations and we're not full circle happy with the results. So I'm republishing that book. But one of the dilemmas I had when publishing that book the first time was, man, now I got the book out, but how does Tobe Cobain, if you look on my gram at certain points in time and you can see the dynamic of my Instagram, how do you sell that? And how do you sell children's books? So it was never an issue of me, myself, not feeling comfortable, because the people that know me, they know what I'm about. I was an R&B singer. I was around tough dudes writing R&B, singing R&B. But, I had to really stop myself and say, but still, if you're trying to cater to the kids and the parents, you got to find a way to do this where, you're not separating the two, but you're living in that whole space, and figuring that out was a challenge then. But now I'm getting a lot more comfortable, and I have a lot of tools now in order to execute that plan, I feel. So that's going to be my challenge going forward. Like, how do I take Tashawn Shuford, Manuel Ford, and Tobe Cobain? Because you want basically you want parents to feel comfortable. Definitely. Essentially leaving their kid with Tobe Cobain. So you got to know Tobe Cobain is this, that, and the third, all in one, and confident in doing so. Like
T.I., he I respect him, his intellect.
T.I.?
Yeah.
Okay.
his music,
expeditiously.
right? But his intellect is official.
Yeah.
But he said he a walking contradiction. I was like, that's true for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, living your truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the people respect you.
Yeah.
Because you respect yourself and you know who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know, it's crazy you said that because shout to KH Publishers too. That's the publishing company that I'm currently signed with. And it's been a joy because it's like I'm going to publishing, I'm going to Arthur College. And exactly what you just said was something that I was told to me. You know, you got to be able to, you know, it's not walking a thin line, but you got to be able to put all of who you are on display and be able to be your truth because you are a person. I got a turtleneck on now. I don't walk around with a turtleneck every day, but I'm comfortable in a turtleneck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I got to be able to put on a turtleneck at times to execute when I'm trying to execute. And, you know, living in that.
I feel underdressed, actually.
But living in that, though, you know, is just, or trying to live in that is the goal. And I'm getting there. I'm not there yet, I'm not where I want to be. Because the people are still, like I said, my Told Cobain family, they know me as that. Not too many of my friends know me to Sean Shuford as well.
Right.
I'm trying to get Manuel Ford out there too and show the people that, you know, people that come from where I come from can write children's books. And that's what I'm trying to, you know, show the people that's younger too, man. Listen, if you got a story to tell, you can write it in the book. You know, we don't all have to go the same path and the same route that we know. This is also a path too, even what you doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is legendary, man. Because
this is what
we
we
see
here
this.
For. This is what we here
yeah,
for.
And it's possible. We showing that.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's exactly what we're here for. To give the inspiration, be motivation, not to just our peers, but to the youngins.
Yes,
you know,
that's important.
And actually to bring that hope back to the elders.
Yeah. Because
the elders sometimes they look at us and they look at us like the lost generation, right? So now they look at us like the lost generation. Imagine how they look at the youngins beneath us. You know what I'm saying? So what you're doing is great. For me personally, when I heard you was doing the children's books, I was like, what?
Yeah,
like, that's dope.
Yeah.
Somebody like me, because I write non-fiction, prison tale, you know, but I write it from a place for inspiration and motivation.
Yeah.
But for you to, you know, to hone in, to zone in, and do children's books, not one but a series, and have this whole concept, you know what I'm saying, to help not just the children but also the parent, and just to give that to the world. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely commend you.
Appreciate that, man.
Moving forward, son. You said you republished the book.
Yeah.
Right?
In the process of republishing.
In the process of republishing. Tell the people some downfalls or, you know, hurdles that may come along with it. Because I have my own hurdles when it came to writing, publishing, and all that. But because we're here to not just give them motivation, but to tell them that there's going to be some valleys that you want to get through, and let them know that just because you went through a valley, you went to a low point, it's not over.
Yeah.
So if you can, you know, just expound on that some.
Once again, great question. You got some good questions, man. It's funny. I got a little story, right? Writing, you know, going through the process of actually writing a book and accomplishing that is extremely gratifying. I'm talking about, when you talk about, man, like I did that. You know, you may know you could do certain things, but until you do it, it's like, wow, okay, so I did that, wrote the book, and had it. So now, finding someone to publish it, that was a whole nother task within itself. And, you know, so I did that and everything. I found a place. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't never want to throw dirt on a situation or a company, because what may work for you may not work for me, and vice versa. But through my process, so I wrote the book, found a company to publish, went through all the intricacies of getting that done, so forth and so on. It's extremely gratifying. To the point where I got to a point where I actually had a book to publish was dope. But for me, I always knew, number one, all right, it's a lot more that comes with everything you do in life. especially when you don't have experience. So I knew I was going to run into not necessarily mistakes, but like you described, you know, you got your peaks and your valleys where things are going good, and then you run into some things you gotta overcome.
Right.
And with me, published the book, got it done, thought I was out of here, right?
Going to the
And not out of here with making money,
moon.
but not making money or getting rich off a book, but you know, I'm ready for what's next. I'm ready to sell my book. I'm ready to reach the world. And then that's when I realized with the whole Told Cobain, but I'm Told Cobain. How do I sell a book? Oh my God. I got this book and I got these followers, but how do I do that? So now I'm trying to figure out how to do that. And then I received a phone call one day from my publishing company. Not gonna mention the name. They called me and made me feel like they read my book and it just blew them away. And my book was the book of the future, and they were so excited and they wanted to work with me. But then you know you get that but. Or not but okay, but how much is it gonna cost? She told me like 30 grand. I said, 30 grand for what? This is marketing and promotions and stuff, which I'm not gonna lie, I had none of that, was not even on my thought process while creating. But you know, I didn't have the experience. Some people may think that was something I'm admit, I didn't think about it.
Right.
I just thought it was gonna be as easy as telling people I got a book and just pushing it. But there's intricacies and there's strategic strategies that
Definitely.
are used to do these things. So when they told me that, it totally turned me off. Not to mention there were some things with the book that I wasn't satisfied with. So when I got that, I was like, wow, it was a hit to the throat, because I'm like, 30 bands. I ain't got 30 bands for this. You know, I ain't make no money off this joint. I ain't even cool. You know what I mean? It cost me about 5 bands to put the book out. But long story short, and then the opportunity came where I got introduced, to someone through a friend of mine's that had her own publishing company. But not only that, her whole objective was teaching you how to be an entrepreneur. That's one of her terms, like, you know what I mean? So that whole mind state was teaching you how to be, before you even put out your book, to understand the intricacies and how you have to navigate in order to put yourself in a position to sell your book. And that was all things that I didn't know prior. But I knew that I didn't know a lot, and I was willing to spend my money to, at the very least, learn from my mistakes, and that's what I was able to do.
Dope motivation right there.
Yeah.
And the thing about that, but I'm gonna add on.
Mm-hmm.
I tell the youngins, I tell my circle, anybody that listen, it's not about school, right? It's about educating yourself.
Yeah.
Pay for the education, because that's one thing you can never take away from you.
Never.
So that was me right there. That was me right there.
Once you know it, and the good thing about this, I got the children's book series, and I got other books that I'm writing too. I could talk about that another time, or that I've written and working on. But all of the information, like you said, that I'm learning now, this is not something that when this book is out, I'm gonna lose all of that.
Right.
That's information and tutelage that I can carry into my next endeavors, and
absolutely.
And also, I can answer these questions just like I'm doing now. I can show y'all what to look out for, and that right there is something that I can never express how gratifying that is, to be able to help people learn from my mistakes. That's priceless, man.
Dope.
Priceless.
Hey, yo, man, we gonna come right back with the last segment. We be right back, man. We back, man. Moments with D-Hop, my guy, Manuel Ford, Harlem Zone. We was kicking it, man. We get real intimate here, man. He dropped some jewels. I wanted to just backtrack a little bit because I was talking about the prison tales, my experiences, if you will, and then on your side, the children's books. But we actually come talking and find out that we actually maybe about 5-6 blocks from each other, same neighborhood, same age group. So what do you think, the differences are when it comes to my story versus your story of your stance and my stance, in life and just about the books and all that? You can tie that together for us.
Yeah, definitely. Good question too. Like you said, we know a lot of the same people, and even though we may not know each other, it's crazy that we come from the same place. But I just want to say, it's okay to live in your truth. Like, I've never been to prison, so I could never write a prison tale, right? So we all come from the same places, but we all have different experiences. It's all right to write about what you experience, what you know, what you feel like you're more of an expert in. It don't take nothing away from me. It don't take nothing away from him, and vice versa, based on who's looking at it, because we're writing from our experiences, and your experiences can be different than someone or anything that you've ever known. You could put that out. You could put that on paper.
Right.
Your experience can be like someone you know or not. Either or, it doesn't matter. Never feel uncomfortable about being who you are or speaking about what you know best, because that's being true. That's being true to yourself, and that's really what's most important, and that's what allows you to lay your head down at night. You can still be everything you are as a man to a man, but it's okay to speak on what you're going through. I dealt with children extensively. I'm writing about children. Most people can't relate to that, right? Even if you have children, I know how to deal with other people's children. And like you said, you come from the prison tale. I like reading about prison tales and stuff to learn about people's experiences, because I've never experienced that.
Right.
And I'm okay with saying that. You know what I mean? And that's cool. So I feel that's very important for the people to know.
That's dope. Definitely. Before we get out of here,
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of questions. We're going to change gears a little bit. Before we do that,
Okay.
What would you tell, because you dropped a lot of jewels, but specifically, what would you tell a 16-year-old kid right now that has all these ideas in his head? Mm-hmm. Where to start? Where does he start?
Start, write it down. I tell you, I'm the type of person, and this is how my whole creative thought process works. I'm the type, I scribble down everything. I write it down. I don't necessarily write something and basically, like, my books that you'll read, that's not how I wrote them the first time. So I'm gonna get the information on the page person. Okay. And get it, however you feeling it, however sporadic it's coming, because you can always reorganize that. Like one of my friends, my man Els, I've seen him record and be able to go in there and just record and put stuff down, and then he can go back and kind of formulate the way best how he want. You know what I mean? So it's not always about I have to write a book, and if I don't have this book structured in my head to write from page 1 to page wherever it ends, then I can't start. You'll never get started like that. And some people could do that though. Kudos to them. I can't do that. So right? I gotta put my stuff down, right? And then I go back and
So basically, start.
Yeah, just start. Put it on paper, man. It's
like
journaling.
I'm about to say, not for nothing. If you don't know, which right now in this day and age with all the information, movies are not shot beginning to end. So same thing with your creativity. Like the big bro said, man, just start. Just write. Put it down. Right now, matter of fact, go get you some loose leaf paper. Go get you a composition notebook. Yeah. Something. Write it down.
Whatever you've been thinking about, I promise you, to get that monkey off your back. If you don't got to worry about writing it neatly, you don't have to worry about correct spelling, grammatical errors. Forget about all that. That's what editors are for, as far as when you get to that point. But when you get that loose leaf out and get that pen and put whatever it is that you're thinking down, and don't stop until you don't have any more. That's the beginning point to just to catapult you into what's next in that whole creative process. Trust me, I promise you.
Dope. with that, man, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, man.
My God, man.
Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all. Pre-orders will be available soon. You know, I'll get y'all that information whenever possible.
Let them know when they can look forward to the books actually.
It's in the process now of getting republished.
Right.
So you know, right now I'm like in author school where my publisher got me going through some real stuff, but it's all for me. So I'm not complaining. Everything as much as I put in, as much as I'm gonna get out.
Definitely.
So I would say within the next 2.5 months. So what we in November?
Yeah.
November?
Say first of the break of the new year and around.
Around late January, early February.
Nice. That's good.
We should be getting Meet the Learners. I don't know the exact name that I'm gonna use because my publisher told me that maybe the name I had for before, it was called Doctor's Appointment. You know, maybe I may be choosing a new one, but like he said earlier, names are
right.
interchangeable.
Tentative.
Tentative.
Right. Tentative. Let the people know where they can follow, because when the book drops and all the information, so follow the guy, let them know where you can follow you and all that stuff.
I'm on Facebook, Manual Ford, so that's MANUALFORD. I have an Instagram for the book called Meet the Learners, and that's MEETTHELEARNES, Learners.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna put it right here.
Okay, bet. Say no more.
There you go.
Technology. You know what I mean?
That's what we do
See,
here.
more experience.
That's what we do.
Snap
here.
your fingers. That's it.
You know what I'm
1, 2,
saying?
3.
Follow him, man. Manual Ford.
And also Tobe Cobain.
Can't forget Tobe Cobain.
It'll all be right there, like he said, right there on the
We
ticket.
got you, man. With that, we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
For real.
Another episode, Moments with D Hop, featuring Manual Ford.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
We out here.